Greetings, car lovers. Now, as you know, I'm no petrolhead, which is probably why they thought it would be highly amusing and also quite accurate to provide me with a Nissan Leaf. Not the most dramatic car review I was hoping for, to be honest. Maybe if we do some snappy random camera angles, that might help. The all-electric car, providing no exhaust pollution or greenhouse gas emissions. Nah, still don't think it's working. As always, I'll be passing off the review of this said environmentally friendly vehicle to someone who actually knows what they're talking about. But before all that happens, before the flashy shots and stats in an all-massive review style, I just want to check out how kind of easy it is for a novice such as myself to charge one of these babies up. To the charging station! I'll get in the car now, yeah? Why are we using music from the Antiques Roadshow? It's hardly hardcore, is it? I'm off to see how easy it is to charge up a Nissan Leaf, before I hand the actual review over to a so-called motoring professional. Apparently I'm now doing this to trumpet music, which is obviously the perfect noise accompaniment. See, the thing about these electric cars is, I want noise, but obviously you're not going to get it because of the, you know, lack of petrol engine. But I feel I should be going, although we are going quite slow, so it's more like. Right then. Ecotricity electric highway. Okay, so I presume it's kind of like, well, like an iPhone. You plug it in there, and that's the power, and you plug it there. Have we got a wire or something? You take this ray gun, I presume. Hang on, that's a proper plug. So, yeah. So that, the ray gun will go in the car. That's like your USB thing, and then the plug will go in that thing. Yeah. That will go in the car then, I presume, because that. Oh right, yeah. So you stick the gun in the power thing, yeah. I really don't know what I'm doing here. That looks like that. Yes. All right. Oh. So this has to go in here somewhere. There's a petrol cap somewhere, but it's, well, obviously not like an electric cap or... It's a bit like the Krypton factor, which bit fits which. No. Not easy, this charging a car thing. Especially when the driver can't be asked to get out and help. In terms of a thorough review then, I'd probably give that a -4, because I mean, I don't even know how to charge the thing and I don't really know much about it. That's why though, I've decided not to get involved whatsoever and hand the whole review over to my good colleague in onlymotors, Chris. Mainly because 1, he knows his stuff, 2, he probably knows how to charge this, and 3, recently the films we've been doing, I might have got on his nerves a bit. Cue montage. I thought you were going to like run through a load of stats or something. I tell you what, do me a little bit of a car review. I'll step out the way.
No, because whenever I do that, you get bored and interrupt. The man's unbearable.
I need a Waz.
Mazda brought us here, giving us the car.
He just needs to calm down a bit and stop having a go at me just because, you know, who is he, the fun police? So, how do I put a smile on the face of a grumpy man who's even grumpier due to the fact that, well, I annoyed him? Well, you don't just give him an electric car, you send him to Milan to road test it. Over to you, Chris. Can someone get me an Uber? Because I've no idea how we're going to get that moving. As I get an Uber then, the bearded spectacle one needs to get a plane to Italy, where if all goes to plan, he'll be having the electric experience of the Nissan Leaf on a completely different level. With years and years of motoring journalist experience, Chris really knows his stuff. So before he starts getting really dull, let's appreciate him walking and getting into a T5 pod. I've I've been informed that Christoph isn't exactly a major fan of cars that don't run on petrol. Ironically, his first experience of a vehicle that runs solely on electricity appears to be getting him fairly excited.
I'm at Heathrow and I'm in a pod that's taking me to the airport and it's driving itself.
Believe it or not, that's actually him getting excited. Imagine what it'll be like when he gets to drive. Oh, it's gonna be mental. Are we going to have to watch the whole flight as well? Come on, let's speed things up via the power of a cartoon, shall we? Chris is flying to Milan, Italy, which is the green, white and red circle in Europe. Europe is apparently a place we used to be in, but via the power of politics, we're not anymore. Anyway, benvenuti a Milano, Christopher. Thought I'd chuck some Italian in just to make it more authentic for him. Although, come to think of it, has he actually spoken a word of English yet? I thought he was supposed to be presenting this film. Maybe he'll be more talkative after a good night's sleep. Hope he likes the little B&B I've sorted for him. Chris is well rested and ready for the day ahead. No time to do your hair, Chris, as you haven't even spoken yet. Time to give us the lowdown on what's going on.
So, made it here in good time. Had some good eats last night. Hotel's very nice. Had a relaxing evening. And now just looking forward to driving a Nissan Leaf through the winding hills of Italy. I'm hoping for some sort of opening to the Italian job kind of vibe, just with less fire and bulldozer. We'll have to see. But before we can do any of that, we actually need to get the car from Nissan. So in a minute, they're going to take us over to the circuit where all the cars are, and then we can get going.
Right then, so despite me sending Chris all the way to Milan to review the Nissan Leaf, due to the fact that, well, I couldn't even charge it, let alone review the thing, he's now going for a ride in a van. He's not even reviewing the van, he's just travelling in it. It's kind of the equivalent of Gino D'Acampo heating up a Domino's in his microwave, I suppose. It's not the thing you'd expect, but it does happen now and again. I am apparently assured he will be driving and reviewing a car eventually. As for when that will happen, I'll keep you posted.
Right, so we've made it here to the technical centre that Nissan's holed up in here in Italy, and we've just got to go in, have a bit of a presentation, talk about the car, this, that and the other, and then it's off over there somewhere to beautiful Lake Como. Not a bad day at work, this.
Day at work? Is he having a laugh? You haven't even done anything yet. So, just like all car launches, every motoring journalist requires the obligatory lanyard, and our man Chris is no exception. Not forgetting the obligatory stuff in your face too.
I don't know what that is, but I'm having one. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'm just going to talk you through the day, the activities, and just the logistics around.
I'm sure he's a very interesting man with lots of important stuff to say. But can we just cut to the chase, please? I've got a Domino's warming up in the microwave. Ah, it's another one of those Chris walking shots. You never know. He might get in a car in a minute. Despite technically not having done any work whatsoever yet, today Chris gets the pleasure of travelling to the beautiful Italian surroundings of Lake Como. Now, I'm no expert, and that's mainly why I sent Chris, but you'd think this might be the perfect moment to comment on how electric cars tend to suit driving around in the sunshine with incredible scenery. The lack of noise from an electric-powered vehicle means in such a place as Milan, you can wind down the windows and fully appreciate the sounds of nature, the atmosphere of the towns and the people within. Surely that's a far nicer experience than just a load of petrol engines roaring at each other. As a complete petrolhead and someone who's been slightly negative about electric cars in the past, only time will tell whether Chris will appreciate this. But if he could say something, in fact, anything about the car, that would be really appreciated, as I'm literally like a fish on ice skates here, mate. Come on, throw us a bone.
So we've made it to the first checkpoint of the drive. Not really been able to fully immerse myself in the Leaf in Italy experience, mainly because I've never been to Italy before and the driving standards are abysmal. Quite impressed I've not crashed yet, to be honest. But yeah, they've put on a little spread for us, a little bit of a regroup, and then hopefully go out, see some more of this beautiful scenery and get a bit more familiar with the Leaf and you know, try and become at one with EV zero emission motoring. Tall order considering I like my petrol, but could happen.
For anyone not keeping up, so far, Chris has driven a few Italian kilometres, complained about a few Italian drivers, and eaten a few Italian meals. He does realise he's not on holiday and this isn't a jolly, doesn't he? Surely it must be time to park up in a quirky place and actually give us his expert motoring opinion on the car and drive so far. Yep, this'll do. Still can't get over how quiet it is. Not just Milan, I am obviously talking about the car.
So as you can see, we've gone a bit off-piste with the locations. We've since we've found some sort of mansion, which you'll probably be able to see on homes under El Hammer. I quite like it, but that's not why we're here. We're here for this, the Nissan Leaf, and driving it about in Italy, and it's all very nice. And you know, the car's great. It's difficult for me because I'm a petrolhead. I like my cars. I like my speed and my power, my brake horsepower, and valves and cams and there. So, you know, as I said earlier in the film, this is a bit of a strange scenario for me. It's quiet and it's very uninvolving to drive, but that's what it's trying to be. It's not trying to be a powerhouse of performance and, you know, dynamicism. It's just meant to be a car, and it does that very well. You get a bit of range anxiety, but then it rewards you. It's got regenerative braking on this latest version, so when you're on the motorway, your range goes down and that puts you off, and then when you go around town it builds back up again. So it's deceptive. It's got more go than you'd expect. Aesthetically, it's not the most dazzling car. It's just not. It's not exciting. Or is it? Maybe there's something we can do that can show the Leaf in a new light. Maybe in the way that you've never seen the Leaf perform before. If only there was somewhere we could go to do that.
So, Chris is going to show the Leaf in a new light, is he? He's already in Italy. What more does he want? Actually, I see what he's doing here. He's creating a bit of suspense before the next piece. Oh, what could he possibly be about to undertake with Nissan's low-emission, totally electric offering? Well, I don't want to give the game away, but I'll give you a subtle clue. It rhymes with lifting. Back at Nissan's temporary headquarters in Milan, they just so happen to have a wet track, where people are instructed in the art of drifting. Now normally, it's advisable not to mix electricity and water, but for the purposes of getting our petrolhead more excited about the Nissan Leaf, Chris will be put through his paces in drifting something that normally you wouldn't expect to drift. I'm reliably informed there is very little chance of him getting electrocuted, but if it does happen to occur, then we do have other motoring journalists standing by. Here's hoping we won't need them. So, as Chris prepares to electrify the water and Italian onlookers with his drifting abilities, the big question is, will he be any good?
There's something inherently wrong about drifting an electric car in water that's front-wheel drive.
The answer to my previous question is obviously no.
I think that'll do. He's got his spins for the camera now. That's all he wanted.
Too much gas.
Too much gas.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, we did this bit here, which is a slalom. They sort of fire up walls of water, and you have to avoid them. And of course, you're flicking the weight of the car from side to side, so it's more inclined to go, and you get a pendulum effect going on, and it's difficult to control. A spun on there.
Sounds like a man providing excuses to me, but at least now he's getting more excited about the Leaf. Some would say he's even enjoying himself.
I went all the way around here, got some sick angle, yo, as the kids say, and didn't spin and kept it. And then I went in there and I did my 2 laps on me practice before it, and didn't spin. Felt like a hero, you know. Fast and the Furious, fat bloke drift. That was me. And then I did my competition run, and it all went well. And then on my 2nd lap of the circle, I spun it. So from hero to zero in 180 degrees. Good fun though. I would recommend it. Wouldn't recommend doing it at home. Maybe do it on a track. But yeah, good fun. And apparently the fun doesn't end there, because I now get to go in a drift taxi, like a ring taxi, but a Nissan one, a Note, with a professional driver, namely this one. So, yeah, he knows a thing or two. I'm glad I've just had lunch.
So my name is Roman Sarazan. I'm the last winner of the Nissan GT Academy. I won in 2015. And then I went through an intensive driver development program with Nissan, and I raced with Nissan for Grand Prix Endurance Series last year.
So it's safe to say you know what you're doing then?
I think, yeah, I hope.
So with this, obviously it's drifting in a front-wheel drive car.
Yeah.
You know, never mind the fact it's electric, it's front-wheel drive.
Yeah.
What's your technique for getting it to work?
First of all, you have to put the car in slide, so it's like with any car with mass transfer. You play with the brakes and the entry of the corner. With these tires at the rear, it's really easy to get the slide, so once you are in the slide, you manage it with the throttle, and it's quite easy, quite franky. You have to be very calm and very smooth, but you can spin quite easily. So.
Yeah, I've just been out. I know you can spin quite easily. Are you jumping in the drift taxi?
Yes, yeah.
Chris is making new lanyard mates already.
Yes.
Front seat or back seat?
I'll go in the... I don't mind at all.
No, it's on you.
I'll go in the back, it's fine.
Okay.
So, let's see what the Italian racing driver can actually do. Destroy nature, apparently. Bet Chris is regretting those extra helpings of Mama's special meatballs now. Back at Nissan's base, it's time for another one of those important briefings, which as a viewer we don't actually have to listen to. So please appreciate the visuals with some soft, soothing Italian music.
That's my way of saying that I love you. Wandering under the...
And following that, Chris is now chatting to his new mate, Ed Sheeran's dad.
I'm no scientist, so I only know it roughly anyway. But the battery capacity is effectively how much energy it can store.
Right.
And it's almost a measure of fuel consumption and stuff like that.
Right, I see.
So it doesn't actually have, although it's got the word kilowatt in it, it doesn't actually have anything to do with the power of the car.
I'm just going to buy 1.6.
You can't leave it like that, Chris. At least round it all off with some kind of positive conclusion.
What was this whole thing about? Well, electric cars are here to stay. They're part of the future. They're saving the planet. All that nonsense. You know, we're always going to need cars. We live in a world that's got an infrastructure based around the car, so we're always going to need them. But petrol's not the way forward. The thing is, though, with cars, there's a passion, there's a following, and I'm a participant in that. I like cars, I like petrol, I like V8s, I like power, I like noise, I like all that stuff. So the idea of an electric car sort of turns me off, or has done, I should say. But in coming here and doing this and getting some proper time behind the wheel of the Leaf, I can see the appeal. No, it's not the most dynamic car in the world. No, it's not the fastest. It's not the sharpest. But it is a good, competent car that costs pennies to run, doesn't hurt the environment, doesn't set penguins on fire, doesn't blow up forests. It just ambles along. And this has been doing it for a long time now. This has been around since 2010-ish. And it's proved popular. They've proved it can work. 100% electric can work. It's a good way to go. Am I a convert? No, but I appreciate them more. I appreciate what Nissan's doing. The guys here, they're all very passionate about it. They put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into how they present these cars and how they market them. Yes, they go a bit heavy-handed on the fact that they're dynamic and this, that and the other, and they're not really. But, they're trying to be. They're pushing things forward. This thing here, it'll never make production, but this is a 48 kilowatt-hour car. So, basically, that's twice the amount of power a normal Leaf has got. That's, that's a huge leap forward. It's doubled. So, yeah, they're great. They're important. I respect it as a car. I respect what they're doing. Dare I say it, I'd even have one on the proviso that I had a Cosworth or an E-Type or, my old 72 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme in the garage, and I wanted to save the petrol for that. I'd have one of these. There's literally no arguing that they are the way forward.
Which is a backwards way of saying he likes it.